Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 33.7k subscribers. Can we get to 34k by the end of the month? Please like this video down below and comment down below before we get started. But today we have to talk about Donald Trump suspending immigration into the United States. He's finally done it. A lot of people have been waiting for him to do this for quite some time now, and actually he's done it. Not just necessarily the travel restrictions because of the virus, but for a couple of months he is going to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States, as he says, in light of the attack from the invisible enemy as well as the needs to protect jobs of our great American citizens. I will be signing an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration from the United States. That is a good thing, in my opinion. Definitely, you have this virus. You necessarily have a bunch of workers who are going to be out of work. You don't necessarily need to have all these other people coming in and taking these jobs away from rightfully American citizens. It's funny, you hear people talking about, immigrants do the jobs Americans don't necessarily want to do, but is that necessarily true? Is that really true? We have a lot of American citizens who are out of work. I think that they would be willing to get back into those jobs rather than have foreigners come. And it's not just the low-skilled jobs. It's also things like H-1B skilled work visas, lowering down wages in STEM fields. It's things like construction jobs and any basically immigrant profession you see. It's just the corporations use immigration to drive down wages. That's why the neocons in the conservative movement have been supporting mass numbers of legal immigration for years and years on end now. And what you've had since the 60s is Democrats trying to open up the southern border as well as borders in other countries because they basically do it for power. If you look at the electoral map here, what you can see here is the future of American elections. If you keep the immigration rates where they are. That's why I said Donald Trump should make this permanent. Because what you have here is you have mass immigration pouring into the country, and places like Arizona, Texas, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, they're going to be gone forever, and Republicans are only going to be able to win 213 electoral votes until they can't win anymore. The Democrats want mass immigration, not because they care so much about immigrants, but because they actually want to keep power. That's basically why you've had Nancy Pelosi advocate for things like sanctuary cities and things like that, and do very little to take care of their districts as a result. So basically what you have here is a power grab. And if you technically look at this right here, is they also don't want assimilation to happen, because Hispanics can vote Republican, but typically it takes 3 or 4 generations for that to happen. For example, Donald Trump won 4th generation Hispanics that only spoke English. However, Hillary Clinton won bilingual or Spanish voters by an 80-11 margin. The English-speaking Hispanic voters actually voted for Hillary by 7 percentage points, according to this poll that you can see here. So basically, it's about assimilation too. They don't want to force assimilation either. It's part of their neoliberal power grab, and basically it's about power. You have the neocon corporate class that we talk about a lot, and they're trying to increase the number of illegal aliens. That's why you had people like Charlie Kirk talk about bringing in 50 million illegals over a 10-year period, all of a sudden to change his tune all of a sudden after people actually confronted him on the issue. But you have this donor class in the Beltway conservative Inc. that just wants to pour immigrants into the country for their own personal gain, and it's going to screw over the future of the Republican Party. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and hit my DMs and say, well, you can't support this. This isn't right. And I say, I don't care. Look, the Democrats are doing what they're doing for a power grab. They want all these people here. They're not going to vote Republican based on you being so nice and warm about immigration. That's what Reagan tried, and what happened the second time around when he ran for re-election. He won by a much greater margin, but his Hispanic vote share actually declined against somebody who was arguably to the right of him on immigration on Mondale. So if you look at this map and you look at what the Democrats are going to have in the future, you're just going to have to ask yourselves, why? and you did it to yourselves. So if you're going to keep voting for neocon people, if you're going to keep voting for the Nikki Haley, Dan Crenshaw type of people, this is what you're going to get. Donald Trump is in the middle, arguably, of the spectrum. He's a good president. We can do better in the future. I hope we do better in the future in terms of immigration, because it's true. It is an economic drain. Don't listen to anybody that tells you that immigration is not an economic drain. It is economically beneficial to the upper class and to the foreign workers. It is not beneficial to the lower middle class, working class Americans, particularly the legal Latino citizens that were born in America, as well as African Americans. If you look at what they did in Mississippi when they raided the meatpacking plant, the workforce went from 80% illegal Latino workforce to roughly 80% black, and this is what happens. So you do have American citizens that actually are willing to take the jobs, and most of those jobs actually employ American citizens in them anyway, so I don't like to hear that argument. By the way, speaking of which, if you look at things like welfare, illegal aliens and legal immigrants as well are much bigger drains on the American welfare system than Americans. Why do we, at the point of a crisis, need to take in more immigrants now than what we necessarily could have? We need to take care of our citizens first. We need to put Americans first. We need a more populist platform. We've been putting every country before our own for years upon years upon years upon years, and every other country is willing to put their citizens first, but apparently America's the only country that isn't able to do it. I don't like that. I don't like that train of thought, honestly, and I really do believe that we need to put Americans first. If you look at this graph right here, most immigrants actually take more in welfare right here than native citizens do. That's a problem. We don't need to be putting people into America that aren't self-sufficient. If you look at this graph here, immigrant households use more in welfare than native households, even illegals, because they use the fake Social Security numbers. And then somehow you'll have the people like AOC go on Twitter and try to defend how illegals aren't able to get their stimulus checks. It's a total disaster. So right now you have this map and you have these graphs and you see what the detriments of immigration do to America. And you just have to say it's so good that Donald Trump finally put his foot down and stood for something for once and actually enforced a ban on immigration. It's temporary. It probably will go through the court system. This is true. However, constitutionally, the Supreme Court and all the other judges, there's really nothing that they can do to stop this, especially because Donald Trump has actually flipped so many circuits and put real judges that actually want to uphold the Constitution on those benches. So that's a very good thing. So honestly, in the long-term scheme of things, this is probably going to hold. And honestly, at the end of 60 days or 90 days or whenever it ends, Trump's probably going to have to extend it, and he probably should extend it into the end of his term. And honestly, I think it's going to help him significantly if he actually would like to carry this through his next term, if he actually has 4 more years of no immigration. Basically, you can keep your country together, you can keep your culture together, you can basically keep your wages together, because that's another big thing, immigration and wages. If you look at the study done by George J. Borjas, the working class has absolutely been decimated due to immigration. This is actually why true revolutionaries like Cesar Chavez would actually go down to the border with his crew and actually pelt people crossing it with eggs. I do not endorse that, but apparently my position is considered to be too extreme or alt-right, but apparently Cesar Chavez, who is a total revolutionary workers hero and a Latino, apparently he gets a free pass for some reason. But the bottom line is, it's historically been a fact that if you increase the supply of workers, you will decrease the wages. That's what's going to happen during this crisis especially. It's a good thing either way. If it gets extended permanently or not, it's a good thing either way that Donald Trump finally put his foot down and was able to stop this, basically, because finally he did something that was important on immigration. Obviously, you've got the wall coming up, you've got hundreds of miles of wall, but this just took his presidency from arguably a B grade to an A minus to a solid A, and hopefully he can continue doing this, because if you look at this electoral map right here, and you see this is our future, where you cannot win an election, you lost your country, due to uncontrolled immigration at the sake of a donor class who just wants to increase their GDP, who doesn't care about their workers, well, I'm sorry, that's technically a problem, and the conservatives need to do something about this. And honestly, if you really want to win Hispanic voters over, you do it by reaching out to them economically, talking about actual economic populism. Look at what Tucker Carlson talks about. Don't do this nonsense Charlie Kirk neocon leadership summit stuff, because it doesn't work. Either way, it's not necessarily a good thing in terms of immigration. We have to stop it, and Donald Trump took a big step in the right direction. Hopefully now people like Pete DeBrusque, people like Jerome Bell, good congressional candidates that have kind of gotten cast aside, can basically be seen in a more serious light, because it is an issue that a lot of Americans care about, and the left's going to whine like babies about it, but there's really nothing they can do. It's kind of hypocritical for them to say, oh, Trump needs to secure America during this crisis, and then say, oh, Trump is racist for not wanting immigrants to come into the country where we have 300 million citizens coming off a big crisis that needs to be taken care of. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, join the Discord and subreddit, donate to the Patreon, and subscribe. Star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.